What is up, my beautiful, beautiful peoples of the internet, bros, bears, muscle mommies, and everything in between? As always, this is Patrick, Full Problem Power, your mom's favorite powerlifter. And welcome back to another episode where we get really good at giving people hugs. Because, best believe it, it's a chest day. And since I'm a powerlifter and not a bodybuilder, I'm not getting into a mankini and we're bench pressing today. So, today is the first day of the training week. Bench press day. The way that I structure my training days, because I am a filthy super heavy who has terrible shoulder mobility, is I bench, deadlift, squat, and then I have an accessory day. But I'm going on vacation for 3 days, so I'm going to end up not having that accessory day this week because I'm going out to Mystic, Connecticut for 3 days, just as an expedition, an adventure, dare I say. Going to many bookstores, cafes, and not going to see the penguins. Because if I'm going to go see the penguins, I'm going to make an event of it. I'm going to make sure that I am doing the penguin experience at the Mystic Aquarium, which is about $250 a person. So not able to afford that this time, but there's like the Book Barn, which has lots of cats and multiple locations. It's apparently a very adventurous expedition, used bookstore. Looking forward to seeing that and some mystical, I think it's called the Cloak and Wand, some stuff like that. But bench press today. Last week, what we hit was 463 for 4 sets of 5. And then we kind of imploded as a human. And my deadlift day did not go very well. My squat day, we knew that was not going to go very well. So we kind of did a little bit of a pivot and made sure that we had some really good progress going with the squat day. So I'm a little nervous as to put set in stone what I would like to do today. What I would like to do today is hit something between 467, 473, 477. I don't actually know what the numbers are. Probably put something like, well, probably 3 reds, a blue, and maybe a 2.5. That's a 10-pound jump from last week, which is not quite 5 or 4 reds yet. I don't use clips when I bench because I don't like to. When you get in a sticky situation, you gotta have a bail plan. But I always use clips whenever I squat or deadlift because bar bend is a serious thing when you get above 500 pounds. But I would like to do a 4x5 at 467, or I think it's like 474, something like that. Probably gonna do 467 as opposed to the other weight, just because this is our last block. We've got this week and next week before we deload, going into peak. So very, very exciting. We're getting ready for the 2025 PLU Power Surge out in Chicago, Illinois at Surge to New Levels Gym. I think the meet director is Edward Blair. So and I know that what's his face? I can picture him. I don't. Former bodybuilder, competed at the American Pro with a super manly handlebar mustache. Damn. I'm terrible with faces and names. But there shouldn't. John Hack will be there. He's not gonna bench more than me. So there shouldn't be anyone there who can bench more than my opener. And it's getting a little nerve-wracking to see where we're at. I would like to go like today, 4x5 at 367 is what I should do. What I would like to do is do something for sets of 4 or sets of 3, something above 500. But I know what I want to do versus what I probably should do don't exactly line up. This week's going to be a little interesting, because we had that little snafu last week. I feel leaps and bounds better. Even my coworkers at work today, they were like, wow, you look way better than you did last week. So I was really stressing about the life things that were going on last week. But we're on our way to Oasis Barbell Club. They are in the middle of expanding, which is super exciting because honestly, it was a little small of a gym. They had everything needed, but sometimes it had the exact problem that all gym owners would probably jump for joy about, where the gym was more successful than anticipated. And it delivers on all fronts of what I expect out of a gym. The only thing that it's missing for me personally is a monolift, but it's a USAPL and Powerlifting America, the Natty Boys. It is catered towards them specifically. But I mean, walking out squats is an accessory movement, and so I'm having to use the combo racks, and I've got the Texas deadlift bar, which I'll be competing on. I've got the Kabuki power bar, which I am unfortunately having to compete on once again. I just don't have a squat bar or a monolift, which are two constraints that meh. Yeah. Oh, I hadn't considered that I was using a power bar this block and how that's going to affect stability and bar whip with training. That's something that I completely forgot about. Squat bars are thicker and have less whip than power bars. Power bars start to whip it around. I don't know what they start to whip around because they're called stiff bars. But squat bars are supposed to be stiffer than regular bars, and you're supposed to be able to fit more weight on them. So using a 55-pound Texas squat bar at the Power Surge, I'm at the point, 90% of the people out there don't really need to care about what equipment they have. The only thing that they really need to consider when training for a competition is what deadlift bar they're using, because a Kabuki deadlift bar starts to whip 315. You can get pretty serious whippitude. I remember when the Kabuki power bar came out, a lot of the sumo boys didn't like it because it meant that they actually had to control their lockout, and then they figured that stuff out, and then they were like, oh, I can't deadlift on anything other than the Kabuki power deadlift bar. So I hate the Kabuki deadlift bar. So 90% of the people don't need to really consider what bars they use, because squat bars don't really matter until you're above 700 pounds. Because Texas, 900 really, because you start to get some whip at 700 pounds, but the whip doesn't, there's racked whip, and then there's during training whip, or not training, but during lift whip, and the momentum and whippitude that you can get while lifting doesn't really kick in until about 900 pounds. And then if you use a 65-pound squat bar, you never get whip anywhere, and it is way easier to squat because you don't have that extra variable of whip. Henceforth, why dots and any sort of standardizing coefficient is BS, because it doesn't take the additional factors that come into play when you are lifting heavier weights, such as whip. It doesn't take those into accord. So, the ability to squat over 900 pounds rapidly diminishes as you get better or worse at dealing with bar whip. So a little fun thing going on there. Same thing happens with bench around 600 pounds. Bar whip is a little bit different because the stability that you need on your descent, your eccentric portion of the bench, is drastically abused, or not abused, but affected by the amount of bar whip. I remember when I went out to Elite FTS to be on the Table Talk podcast, I used an F8 bar for the first time because I was benching with not Christy Hawkins. Damn. Well, she's a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force now. What if she's an unlimited lifter now? She used to be raw. Now she's unlimited, and she benched more than me. But I was doing doubles at 505. You can tell that I'm terrible with names and faces. I do have face blindness, so if we've met before and you say hi and I don't recognize you, don't be offended. I'm just, I guess I could actually say that I'm kind of retarded. But anyways, yeah, the F8 bar has no whip. It would pretty much made for Jimmy Kolb, but pretty much unless you're bent, bar whip on bench really starts to kick in around 450. So if you're not using a bench bar to compete on and you have to use a power bar, around 450 is where the stability issues are, any sort of stability issues that you might have are going to end up rearing their head. So I wish I had more ability to change my bench stability, because honestly, that's like, if you'll notice later in this video when I'm benching, my first rep is slow. It is slow on the eccentric portion because I'm struggling with the stability, and I didn't realize it was that, not struggling, but like dealing with the stability and keeping it in line, because bench is like walking on a slack line, and if you get out of phase, then you're not gonna have a super good time. It's even worse in a bench shirt. I've only worn a bench shirt twice, and that was back when I was 19. Good grief, I'm old. Don't look at my lines. I did put some SPF on today. I did a full facial routine. I did my cleanser. I did my toner. I did my moisturizer. And then I put some SPF on. So now despite being 28, I now only look 40. Yay. Anyways, yeah, I've got a slow eccentric, and I didn't realize it was the thing until I used the F8 bar when I went out to Elite FTS that one time. I would totally go back. That was a good trip. I would spend more time out there though. Now that I actually have a productive job where I get PTO and stuff like that. Back then I was driving for Uber Eats and not super flexible, PTO, and it was a 1099 contracting thing. So, yay. But now I've got a full-time job career thing. I've got a meeting in 2 days, super big meeting, and yeah. So benching today, 4x5 allegedly I'll actually have handoffs this time, because Sophie's popping out, unless I finish benching before she gets there. But yeah, that's what we're doing today. I rambled on for way too long. I could ramble on for about an hour and still not be at the gym, because my commute, the gym is halfway home, and my commute is a little longer than that. So yeah, I had many trains of thought. This is what ADHD looks like in real life. So enjoy. I hope you guys enjoy. Yes. I will see you, boys, girls. No. If you're under 18, I'm not talking to you, because what's with powerlifting being SBD, squat bench drama? Like, rule of thumb, if they don't have tattoos, don't talk to them. I mean, I don't have tattoos, so don't talk to me. Don't talk to minors, guys. Don't talk to minors. Don't do it. Anyways, I will see you guys at the gym. Whoo-wee! Kiss my nuts and call it mistletoe, boys and girls, ladies, gentlemen, bros, bears, muscle mommies, and the everything else in between. What is in between? I don't know. We had ourselves a bench day. So earlier I was talking about how I wanted to do like 467, but there's this thing that happens when you're training and you're warming up, and you can really tell how things are going based on how heavy the plates feel. Some days the plates feel heavier, some days the plates feel like they're fake weights and really light. That's a personal experience of mine. And that's kind of like a indicator of how your CNS is doing. And best believe my CNS is doing pretty fine today. So the 55-pound plates, the 25-kilo plates, we're feeling less than 40 pounds today, if you want to wrap your head around that feeling. So we started off the day, we did our usual stretching routine where we stretch out our pecs, because I have pec tendonitis, the ligaments that connect the pectoral muscles to the sternum. I've got tendonitis there. Not super fun when that's not well taken care of. And prevention may be a pain in the tuchus, but prevention is better than rehabilitation, because rehabilitation means you're not really having a very good time and you had an extra bad time. So it's always better to do preventative care, preventative whatnot, as opposed to rehabilitation. Even though rehabilitation is a massive industry out there. And you got to appreciate all the PTs out there who do rehab work. But they absolutely love it when people do prehab work. So we stretched out my pecs. We stretched out my rotator cuffs. And my right rotator cuff was feeling a little angry because I flexed a little hard while ranting about one of my coworkers to Sophie. And yeah, I needed to stretch it out. That's how. You know what's bad? I used to be a paraprofessional and deal with nonverbal special needs kids, and it's really bad when a 4-year-old who doesn't know how to express their needs or emotions outside of throwing chairs and just screaming at the top of their lungs makes more sense than contractor who's in their mid-50s, who is obviously 6 months behind on everything and believes that sending an email counts as work, as well as having a conversation about something that hasn't been relevant for 6 months counts as work. Yeah, corporate life, gotta love it. But we did that, and then we stretched out the triceps a little bit, and then we jumped right in. So we started off with the bar, and then we jumped up to 1 red, 2 red, 3 red, and then I'm getting really, really close to. I just added 2.5s to the bar over last week, and that is an 11-pound jump apparently. 2.5 would be about 5.5 pounds. So 5.5 pounds if you think 25 kilo plates is 55 pounds. So I mean that math works out. So we actually loaded up 474, and I was a little nervous for the first set, and the first set didn't feel super good. It moved good, but the last rep felt more RPE 9. RPE, for those of you who have stuck around this long, I don't like RPE for anything other than accessory movements, but it's a good indicator as to how you're feeling on a specific day. It shouldn't be what drives what your weight selection is, but it's a good scale for not auto regulation, but almost like a temperature gauge, where see how close you are to boiling water, you know. So there's an RPE 9, and I was like, because I noticed it was RPE 9 because my dominant arm lags a little bit as I get above 95%. And RPE 9 is definitely above 95% on that particular day. But more and more sets as we went on. We did a 4x5 at 474. Or if you want to be American, 475. So since we're American, we're always right, 475. First set felt good, or not super good. Second set felt better. So the weird thing is every single set felt better except for the third set. The third set, I guess, I don't really know how to explain it, but in the middle of one of the reps, well, while I was benching and pretty much locking out, the whip in the middle of the bar started to vibrate violently. And I was like, this is a novel experience I've never had before. And it kind of threw me off a little bit, but I finished out the set and it was really good. And the best set that I had was the fourth set at 474. So while I was training, doing my 4x5, Sophie was also doing some heavy squats. Her current PR in a meet is 347. So her first squat was, I think, 280, and then she went 300, and she's doing triples. So when she hit 300, I was like, why are you being such a sandbagger? She hadn't gone to the gym last week because of personal reasons. But so she was a little nervous going in. She's like, I don't know how heavy I'm going to be able to go. So she threw on 300, did a triple. It looked easy. And then threw on 320. And the third rep was a little grindy, but not in a strength way. Basically, you can see the bar shift to one side right before she squats, and then that side lagged. And I was like, that's if you had stayed centered, it would have also looked stupid easy. And then she was like, do I go up to 330 or Coach Jordan Wong's her coach. He said anything up to 340. And I was like, oh, do you want to do 330 and then go for 340? And she was like, nah, I only want to do one set left. And I was like, all right, then split the difference. So I have only just started using kilo plates. I do not know what any numbers are. So I thought I was splitting the difference, and I threw on 341. I have a really expensive piece of paper that says I'm really good at math, but when it comes to unit conversions, no. I only took physics 1 in college, and then I took statics, but that was a 15-week course condensed down to 5 weeks. And I tried to take 3 classes at the same time doing that, 26-hour days, and that put me in the hospital, so I didn't finish that class. But she took a little longer. I did some accessories. I threw on, I did incline dumbbell skull crushers, and if you remember last week's video, explaining how you basically want to bring the dumbbells down to your shoulders, but not like rest it on the shoulders and then you roll it back and get as much range of motion as possible. I've done this a couple months in a row, and it's enough data for me to start like confidently putting it on my clients' programs. And I put it on one of my clients' programs for this week, and I'm really excited to see how they respond to it, because you any sort of personal experience can only be counted as anecdotal. But once you start spreading the formulations and stuff, because I haven't heard anyone suggest anything like this. The closest thing would probably be a jam press, but that's a flat dumbbell bench, bringing it down to your chest and then rolling it back. I don't like floor skull crushers. They're stupid to me because limiting a range of motion is dumb. Unless you're trying to affect your central nervous system. So something like a board press, if you're trying to get stronger, you're being stupid by doing that. But if you're trying to overclock your CNS, you're doing it. It's good to do. Reverse bands too. Bands are a good tool for using when you need specific point, not analysis, but work. So like if you constantly get on your toes, horizontal band will help you get off of your toes by making sure that you really fight the bands to stay back. One of my favorite banded work is horizontal banded bench, and it really primes you for a perfect not range of motion, but bar path, because a lot of us, I do what I call nippling yourself or guillotine yourself, and you touch too high. So a horizontal band is going to really bring you into that J motion, which is ideal for benching. And I have one of my clients doing that right now, and his bench is looking really crispy. He went from dive bombing from halfway up to having a really crispy, really well-controlled bench, and I'm really proud of him for that. Anyways, so I supersetted the incline dumbbell skull crushers with incline curls, and I was in the new part of the gym, which is not finished yet. The only thing in that part of the gym right now is an incline bench, and the incline bench came with a bar that has like a collar in the middle. And Sophie was like, "What's this collar for?" I was like, "I think it's to prevent the bar from bending." But the bar was already bent to kingdom come, so it failed horribly. I wonder if it was just two pieces of metal that were welded together and they put a collar on it to protect the weld, which that would be stupid. But I think it was a free bar that came with the bench. Hammer strength bench. So it's a quality bench, kind of. Above average quality, but not super pristine quality. Commercial grade incline bench. But yeah, that bar is not going to be usable for anyone. Good thing the gym is overstocked on the pristine, highest quality bars out there, which is really phenomenal, and I love that. But I supersetted that, and then Sophie took 341 for a triple, and I had full confidence that she was going to hit it, but she took a little while between that set and the previous set, so I was like, I hope she's not cold. So I was just a little nervous for my own sake, because I knew she was going to get it. She's hit 347 for triple before, and her meet PR is 347. And every time I get on her for being a sandbagger. Yeah. But she had a super good squat day. I had a super good bench day, and I finished off with a drop set of a superset drop set of dumbbell front raises and then dumbbell side raises, really hitting the shoulders from multiple angles. It's like front delt, mid delt, and I need something to grab the rear delt, and then I can throw that into a giant set. But I think that I can only do that with rear delt flies. But the benches were all taken, which is why I was in the weird part, the unfinished part of the gym on that bench, because the other bench was taken. But yeah, I didn't do any abs because I'm doing 3 days back to back to back, and I didn't want to negatively affect my deadlifts that were coming up. So yeah, that was a pretty good training day. I hope you guys didn't get too thrown off by my ADHD distraction rants. I like One Piece, and the way that I guess it's storytell, maybe, is similar to One Piece, where they're like, let's go get the One Piece. Anyways, we're on this island now, and let's branch off. I heard a theory the other day that the One Piece, which could be completely canon, the ridiculousness of this theory is so ridiculous that I fully believe that it's true, because it's something that Oda would do based on the entire One Piece series. I'm just past the Thriller Bark, and I'm in the archipelago portion of One Piece. So that's where I am. I'm about halfway through. But someone said that the One Piece is a One Piece swimsuit that allows Devil Fruit users to swim. And I was like, that is so ridiculous that it's plausible. And I really like that theory. But we'll see how it works out. One Piece still ongoing. And I think Oda said that they were in the last portion of the story. So it's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a thing. I need to catch up before the series ends. So, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your cat's name, and share it with your mother, because she's a beautiful lady, and she deserves to see what a real man looks like every once in a while, and that's me. Anyways, may the force be with you. Patty out.